Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Skagit Storytellers. My guest this week for episode 40, yay 40, is Sonny Brown. Sonny's the drummer and singer of a local rockabilly swing band, the Dimes. He's also known for being in Gin Gypsy. They were around until about 2020. When he's not playing tunes with Rick and Ken, he's hanging out with his girlfriend Maya or riding around town with the Vicious Badgers. Sonny was really fun to chat with, and like always, I'm just eternally grateful for anyone who trusts me to share their story. So check out the Dimes. Their next show is Friday, December 1st at Old Timers in Sedro-Woolley. All right, so we have to get to this now because there's so many shows and I have to share these. So upcoming shows, December 1st, as I mentioned, the Dimes are playing Old Timers. But if you're in Bellingham, you should check out Lazy Acres. They are playing the Blue Room. It's all ages. Bring your kids. Trevor Lance, the drummer for Lazy Acres, was on my radio show yesterday, and we had a blast. Okay, so the next day, Saturday, December 2nd, Cascade Cody and his Unpulled Bootstraps are playing at Rockport. And the West Jones Trio is playing at Lyman Tavern. So, two great shows upriver. The weekend after is even more exciting. Friday, December 8th, I was waiting for this. The Warthogs are playing at the Blue Mountain Grill at 6 o'clock. It's free and it's all ages. If you're wondering who the Warthogs are, I'll tell you. All right, it's, so far, this is the roster that I got. It's Eli Montoya, Scott Story, Jesse Eldridge, Jack Mattingly, Andy Brown, and I think I'm missing someone. Anyway, that's the roster right now. It's probably going to change here and there depending on who's available, but that's the great thing about the Warthogs. You never know who's going to show up. And they have a really cool sign too for their band. They put like this W under their chin. Anyway, go to the Blue Mountain Grill on Friday, December 8th at 6 p.m. and check it out. All right, then the next day, Saturday, December 9th, bust out those Christmas sweaters and show up at Barley and Brew. They're going to have a killer Christmas show. It's Cascade Cody, West Jones Trio, and Jack Mattingly. The show is 21 and older, and it's $10 at the door. Also, while I'm at it, I'll just plug Zach Michaud playing at the Rockport on December 16th. But on December 16th, if you're not upriver and you're looking for some awesome tunes, check out the 8th annual Rocking Yule Bazaar in Anacortes. The lineup's pretty awesome. Fanny Alger, West Jones Trio, Beth Bishop, Jennifer Watt, Cascade Cody and his Unpulled Bootstraps, Tuscan Harper, Enthusiast Randy Weeks, the AMP Community Choir, and Pension Kings. Yeah, that's a lot. That's going to be fun. And if that's a lot, if you're like, I can't keep track of this, just send me a message on like Friday afternoon or Saturday afternoon and just ask me where you should go and I'll give you a list. Okay, running update. I know you guys have been dying for this, right? Okay, so I have a few races on the calendar. Tradition with ultra runners is to do a birthday run. So whatever age you turn that year on your birthday, that's how many miles you run. And I've never done one, but I'm going to start this year. So the Saturday after Groundhog Day, because Groundhog Day is my birthday, I'm going to run 44 miles. So that's early February. Then I'm going to attempt to finish chucking up 50K again in mid-March. This time I really want to finish before the cutoff. If you have not heard any of my history with this race, I will definitely share it soon when my training ramps up. Hopefully, I really, really want the race director to come on this podcast too. So, Chrissy, let's talk. Lastly, I'm going to attempt Pigtails 200 again this year. Rebecca, my friend Rebecca, asked me if I was doing it, and she planted that seed, and now I can't stop thinking about it. So I really hope that Eric can fly back from Colorado to pace me on my last loop, as is tradition. Okay. Normally in my intro, I started playing clips from songs. I just didn't have time to do that this week, but I want to say Washing Tones Records is a unofficial sponsor of my podcast. No, I'm going to call them an official sponsor. Let's say it. They have great merch, and I'm wearing a hoodie that I love. It's not black. I have so many black hoodies and black band shirts, and I thought I want to get a music related item that's not black. So I got this sand colored hoodie and I love it. And they have free shipping as well. So in the description of this episode, I'm going to have a link to their website. Just want to say really quick too, go to merch, go to their shop, and then click all. Look for everything, because you'll find hoodies, t-shirts, all that stuff. If you just go to apparel, you actually won't see a few things. So go to all, search through, buy a bunch of stuff for people for Christmas. They're a great little company, and I'm very proud to support them. So check them out. Live music, check. Running, check. Oh, check out my radio show every week on 90.1 FM KSVU, Hamilton Concrete. You can listen online at ksvu.org. I try to have a new guest every week. Last week, like I said, it was Trevor Lance from Lazy Acres. And this coming week, I have another local musician. His name is Walker. And I can't wait to hear about the music that shaped him into the person he is today. So that's from 6 p.m. till 8 p.m. every Tuesday. But if you want, you can also check me out this week. So it's going to be 2 days from now. I'm going to be on the radio on the Texas Connection show with Red on Black Friday from 10 a.m. until noon. So while you're out there shopping, tune in and listen to Red and I chat and listen to our awesome tunes we're going to pick. The host of that show, my friend Red, he was kind enough to ask me back to co-host with him. I had a blast last time I was there, and I look forward to our time together. So Red, I'm excited. This will be fun. Okay, that's it from me. Happy Thanksgiving, guys. Enjoy your time with your loved ones. Be of use. And as always, go do something hard.
Howdy, partner. Welcome to one of the most northern parts of the United States of America. Travel with me upriver as we talk to a bunch of ladies and fellers and they share their tales of wit and wisdom. That's right, it's time again for Skagit Storytellers with Liz Rankin.
So if Andy won't come on to the show,
yeah,
what you ought to do is just do a show of everybody's stories about Andy.
I know.
Because we've all got one.
Well, when I asked him about, I said, I forgot to ask you, Sonny's coming over, tell me something. And he goes, I asked around, he's clean. I'm like, clean stories are still stories, Andy. So I said, well, if he tells a story about you during the podcast, I'll text you really quick and then you can respond. So
my stories are all good about Andy.
Really?
Yeah, he's a good guy. Yeah, he really is.
You're winking right now.
No,
I'm just kidding.
I think. Well, I don't know if you want me to. You can probably. Are you taping this right now?
Oh yeah, I always hit record as soon as you walk in. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I'll tell you. My story about Andy Brown goes back to the early '80s, so it might be the oldest story you'd hear about Andy.
Okay.
When I was a freshman in high school, he was a senior, and I could either. We lived.
And this is at Sedro-Woolley.
Sedro-Woolley.
Yeah.
And we lived off a prairie road, which is, I don't know if you're familiar with that area, but Samish, that's about 10, 12 miles outside of Sedro-Woolley proper, north. And I could take the bus and take 45 minutes to get to school, which was way too long to sit on a bus. Or my dad would give me a ride in and drop me off a block away from school, but it was early. So I'd go to school, and they had a little student lounge area, and I'd go do whatever and go sit in the corner there. In Andy's class, there's a vast difference between a freshman kid and a senior man. Anyways, they would come in the morning and tell stories about their partying and stuff. And it was awesome. It was awesome. I loved it. And I'd just sit in a little corner and get my head low.
Yeah.
That was my first
writing down stories.
Yeah, that was my first real, not even an interaction, but being aware of Andy Brown.
You're obviously here because we're talking about titles and loans today. So that's.
I've been doing it a long time.
Were you born in California?
I was born in California.
Okay, whereabouts?
Yuba City, California.
Which is?
It's about 45 miles north of Sacramento, so you're in Northern California.
Oh, okay. Got it.
up where all the farms are. And
So you grew up on a farm?
no.
Oh.
But my dad was a welder, so he was always working on farm equipment. And I had an uncle that had a machine shop, and so we were around it a lot. We'd go out and glean peaches and tomatoes and prunes, obviously.
Yeah. And then why did you guys move up here?
Basically, my parents didn't get along with their families, so my mom had family up here. We moved. Actually, I lived up here when I was about a year and a half old. We lived out on Cook Road, and then we moved back to California, and moved to Oklahoma for a while, back to California. And then we came up here when I was 12.
Yeah.
And this is home.
So you must have started, so you're 12, so what, 7th grade?
I was in 6th grade when we moved
Okay.
up here.
What school did you start
Washington Elementary in Mount Vernon. So it was cool because I got to meet a bunch of the guys that were still around this area. They're associated with Fanny Alger kind of in a weird way.
Oh, who's that?
Like Dave Evans, and I don't know if you know.
Are they
Dave.
also musicians, but just not in the band?
No.
Or just super fans?
Just super cool guys.
Yeah. Nice.
Just super cool people. Everybody supports everybody.
Yes.
It's crazy. It's not like that any place else I've ever been.
It's a really special place, and I don't think people realize how amazing they have it. Yes.
If you listen to like Fanny Alger, there's so many references to Sedro-Woolley and Skagit County and the islands and stuff. Well, I'm stoked to see Cascade Cody this weekend. He's playing, I don't know when.
Oh, yeah. He's playing at Temperate Habits for his EP release.
I haven't got to see him play live yet. I met him up at Birdstock. Talked with him a lot, and great guy. I'm stoked to see him play finally.
Birdstock was so fun.
It was.
I loved it because Birdstock was in August, and then Ampfest was early September. Yeah. I feel like every month there's kind of like this big thing where we get to see a bunch of people. However, I'm also running into this issue. There was one weekend where there was like 6 shows going on all at the same time. And I said, I get it now because someone told me about the musician's curse. How you can never go hang out with your friends because you're always playing different places.
That's why band camp is so cool.
Yes. I 100% get that now. But on the 21st of October, Cascade Cody and the Unpulled Bootstraps, which is Cody, Tim, and Tony, and Lazy Acres are all playing at Buxton's.
That's going to be an awesome show.
And I just saw that you're playing with Levi.
Yeah.
Where are you guys playing?
The Conway Muse.
The 21st, yeah. And
maybe we'll get out there early. And
there you go. Yeah, move your show up super early. But I mean, yeah, it's an amazing problem that there are so many great acts, like not just one act, but 2 or 3. Well, I reached out to a bunch of people, but specifically Andy and Spencer, just because they're drummers too. And he said, the only good story I can think of that I have with Sonny is taping up his vocal mic at band camp after it fell off about 8 times in the span of 10 minutes.
Spencer saved me.
Well, and you sing.
I do.
So you need your mic.
I just kind of grunt and stuff.
You should have just held it.
Yeah.
Held it the whole time. That's awesome.
Well, it's weird when you're drumming though, because you're using a boom that's pretty long because you're moving so much, and those mics are pretty heavy.
Also, I asked Jesse for any Sonny stories, and I feel bad that I just wrote him like 45 minutes ago. He said, "Oh my goodness, I should have so many." Hands down, my favorite drummer to play with.
Oh.
Also, a wizard when it comes to loading gear into a van. Do you know what he's talking about?
I know exactly
your
what
map.
Yeah, I had a diagram for our creeper van. Like,
he didn't call it a creeper van. He just said the dude had a map on how to get it all back in the van. It was printed out on the back door. We still always messed it up though.
It just got to the point where it's like, okay, just set it down. I'll put it in. Just set it down. They started calling me Dad for that too.
I was just picturing, is it like the dishwasher situation where
absolutely.
I'm like, CJ, the plates go here. What do you just leave it? I'll do it.
It's got to be just so, because it's going to move around, and you got to get certain things out first when you're setting up.
Is that the only reason they would call you Dad, or are there other?
Because I was the old guy, probably.
Oh, okay. Andy claims he has no stories about you too. Sorry.
But that is really cool for Jesse to say that, because he is an extremely good musician. And have you had him on yet?
No, he's hesitant.
That guy, he might be the sweetest person I know. He really is. He's just a good person. And he and his wife both are just good people.
Yeah. Yeah, he is.
And that might be the highest compliment I can give them. For anybody. Just a good person. I mean, you could count on him for anything, really.
Yeah. I think actually with all the musicians I've met and talked to, he's probably one of the top 2 that people rave about the most. And also Cody. Just like how he just has such integrity, and I love how eager Cody is to work with everybody.
How long have you known Jesse?
Not very long. You know what's funny? I met him at a 5K.
Yeah.
The one in Concrete.
Well, if you'd known him, say, 7 years ago, it was weird. It was like one day, okay, I'm done. This is how I'm going to start living, and it's awesome.
Yeah, he told me that whole story, and so yeah, to me, he's like my running friend Jesse, and I don't think anyone else would ever consider him that first. It'd be like the musician first, and then he happens to run sometimes. But
we haven't even mentioned what a great musician he is.
I know, right?
The guy is a phenomenal singer, great musician.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that guy. I really do.
So when did you first meet Jesse?
I met Jesse, long before Gin Gypsy. I think he was still playing with bare feet, I think. And my background has always been rockabilly.
Yeah.
And he was playing upright bass, and I was like, oh man, I want to play music with this guy really bad.
And not many people play upright bass around here.
And it just adds a cool vibe. It's just a neat thing. So yeah, I had been talking with him, and then the opportunity came up to start Gin Gypsy and play with him, and yeah, I'm in on that.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
So who started Gin Gypsy?
Michelle.
Okay.
That might be another person you want to talk
to. Oh yeah,
to,
we've talked. I have the worst problem is I have too many people I want to talk to. And at first I felt like I was really trying to like beg people, and they were coming on like, okay. But it took a while. Now I have way too many. People are way too eager. People are reaching out to me, and
where do you get the time? You're a teacher, for God's sake, man.
In the summer,
I'm dating a teacher. I know how busy you guys are.
Or this is like my social interaction. Is this?
Yeah.
Or my radio show. That's pretty much it. And my kid's amazing.
That's all.
She's awesome.
Just all that
just
stuff.
those. And also I run. I run marathons, and
that's amazing.
That's it.
Good for you.
Thanks.
I'm jealous of people that can really run anymore.
Yeah, because you said that you ran in high school, right?
Yeah, I used to run cross country, and even after school, it was just a really nice, kind of get your head straight.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. And I blew out a knee playing basketball of all things, and just never was the same.
Yeah.
Now I'm just old and fat, so I'm worn out. So.
Yeah, I was talking to someone about how. I think it was a podcast guest recently. We were talking about how a lot of ultra runners. So an ultra marathon is anything over 30 miles. So, I mean, 50 is like my sweet spot. A lot of ultra runners are former addicts, like either drinking or drugs. And so it's like when I first learned that, I thought, oh, that's like super healthy. And I'm not saying it's not healthy, but we're basically trading one addiction for another.
Yeah.
Because, man, when a race ends, and then like that following week, you fall into this crazy post-race depression. Yeah. And I don't know if like maybe it happens. I mean, would it happen after a show sometimes? Maybe you're really built up about a show that you're doing, and then it's over, and then you're like,
I'm usually just too tired.
Okay.
Usually the next day, I'm like, okay, I've
maybe
got the gear loaded up. They did it the right way, so now I get to sleep in.
Yeah. So, and it's crazy because like the only thing that cures that for me, the only thing that cures that depression is to sign up for another one. So it's like it's this crazy addiction cycle of another kind.
Yeah.
And
but that's if you're gonna have any addiction, I'd take that one. I thought he was very entertaining. You were very entertaining.
Scott was. How did you meet Scott? Through music, obviously.
I met Scott through when he was with Fortune 500. I think. I wasn't really in this music scene until I don't know 2000s.
Yeah.
I started out playing music when I was about 17. My dad was a musician, so when they needed a drummer or a fill-in, I got to go do that, and it was like straight up country music,
Yeah.
So I was playing in bars when I was like 17.
Really?
Old. Yeah.
So he was in a local band.
My dad was he was a pretty good musician. He's a bass player down in California, and you've heard of the Bakersfield sound maybe in country music?
No.
That was in the early 60s, the Buck Owens and Merle Haggard and Wynn Stewart guys. Well, he was down there in that and knew all those people and played music with them. So that when we moved up here, he just, got into bands and stuff.
Oh, so he didn't like start a band himself.
No,
He was just filling in, or
no, he had bands. He started bands, and
yeah.
You know how musicians are. You've known enough of us, so we spend a few years here, then we move here.
Yeah.
So, he was in several bands, but that was my intro into it.
Like, what were some of the bands that he was in that you played with?
Oh, let's see. There's a band called Rimshot that he was in.
Okay.
What other names?
Are these all country?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And this is, early 80s, playing the American Legion here in Sedro-Woolley and stuff.
That's awesome.
That's so funny. But he toured with Rose Maddox and stuff when he was younger, and a lot of he has this. My mom has this big box of paraphernalia when he was really into things and playing every night of the week down in L.A. It's pretty cool.
Wow.
He played with Roger Miller and stuff.
Really?
Yeah, he's got a whole big section of Roger Miller stuff.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So is that the kind of music that you grew up listening to?
Yeah. We country music, and then I had an older sister that was really into funk, so that was cool. I got my Soul Train stuff in there too.
Nice.
Yeah, whenever Dad and Mom would leave the house, that's what came on. And
whenever they would leave the house?
Yeah.
Oh, because there was one record player. That was it.
Yeah. You weren't going to hear that while they were there, but that was my first, foot in the door in music, and then I was playing in blues bands and stuff down in Snohomish and King County, and it wasn't until I was playing with this band at the Edison, not having the greatest time. It must have been obvious. I don't know. And Michelle Montoya, who I hadn't seen since high school, came in and says, "Hey, I'm thinking about putting a band together. Would you be interested?" And like, hell yes.
Get me out of here.
Yeah. And then the Saturday Saints started, and I played with them for a number of years.
Who were they?
That was Michelle, Eli, Montoya, and Kurt Small, and myself.
Oh, okay.
And,
so that was before Gin Gypsy. Okay.
Oh yeah. And that was my contact with Fanny Alger and stuff. I really didn't know any of those guys. And the first time I met Shane, I remember the first time I met Shane was at his house, and we went over to record some vocals. The whole band did. We were going to do some background vocals for one of their songs, like Last American Bar Band, I think is the song. And I walked to the door, and Shane, I'm standing with everybody, and he's just hugging everybody. And I don't know him, but I get a hug. And then his wife, Holly, comes out and gives me a hug. And I'm like, oh, you guys are cool. But that's just kind of people they are. They're just really sweet.
So they were playing a lot the same time that Saturday Saints was?
Yeah. And then that band kind of petered out and did some other things, and then got another call from Michelle, and would you be interested in doing Gin Gypsy? And well, she didn't call it Gin Gypsy, but doing something there, and we had a good time with that.
And so what were the years that Gin Gypsy was around?
Let's see, Saturday Saints was about 2005 to 2008, something in there. And Gin Gypsy, we played from, I got to do the math now. We released the last album in 22, and we were together for about 7 years.
Okay.
So
yeah,
you can do the math.
When Corey was here, we were talking about this book called Tribe by Sebastian Junger. Have you heard of it?
Mm-mm.
And he was talking about how when guys go to war and the group that they're with, like even if you might never talk to them for like 20 years after, and maybe you're only with them for 6 months in this horrible situation, that like bonds you, and so
I see that.
Say 20 years later, even though you haven't talked to this guy in 20 years, you could call him up and he would do anything you needed him to.
Yeah.
And
shared experience that has such a profound effect on you, especially like veterans, I can just imagine. But we do the same. We all do the same thing. We have our class reunions, and we get together these people we haven't seen forever, and all of a sudden we are back into that same.
Yeah. But there's something about, like you were saying, like, you kind of went through some heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And those kind of things, definitely kind of bond you more. And I would not wish anything terrible on the world at all. But it just makes you think, like, our lives are so easy,
Absolutely
So
true.
it's like, that's why I think, like I was mentioning, like the ultra runners, it's like we almost like seek out that suffering. Like I live this great, easy life. I need to go do something really hard.
But what a feeling of accomplishment after you do it too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That euphoria has got to be.
And just
that's cool.
The bar, like it's, like I always say like, oh, I just run 50 miles. But it's because my friends are all like, they're raising the bar around me. And I think that everyone should do that, like whether it be like a 5K or a 10K or getting outside and trying to run one day and then 2 days. Like,
what do you say? Do something hard?
Yeah, go do something hard. Yeah. And it could be running 50 miles. It could be trying to run like.
That's the best thing we can do for our kids too.
100%. Yeah.
And I think the really crappy parent that I was in a lot of ways, that's what my daughter reminded me of today, my temper and all that stuff. But there's a lot of stuff good things that I see them doing now. And I know that that's where they picked it up from. So that makes me feel good as a parent.
Not something you told them, but something that you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have 2 daughters?
I have 2 daughters.
Okay.
2 adult daughters. Yeah. One's an attorney. So if I ever get arrested, yeah. And
when you get arrested?
when I get arrested. And the youngest one married an attorney. So
okay.
I'm so
there
covered.
You go. Are they local too?
The youngest is down in Las Vegas. And the oldest is in Shoreline.
Yeah. No kids? Like they don't have kids?
No. The youngest will probably have some kids. I'm sure she'll have some kids. She married into a good Jewish family, so I'm sure she'll have some kids.
Are you excited for the idea that you'll be a grandpa at some point?
If you would have asked me 6 months ago, I would have said, "Hells no, I'm not ready to be a grandpa." But it's yeah.
What happened the last 6 months?
I don't know.
Wait, it was your birthday last week. No, 3 days ago.
Yeah, it
recently.
was last week. Yeah.
Okay,
so Tuesday, Wednesday.
Did something like happen recently where you're just like, I don't care anymore?
I don't know. I think I don't know. No, nothing happened.
Yeah.
But it just the realization. There's some people I work with that have new grandbabies, and I think, well, I could do that. That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
Get them riled up and hand them back.
Was there any age that you turned where it kind of like was a turning point for you?
40 was kind of big. Not too bad. 30, I didn't have any problems with 30. 50 was the one that hit me.
Yeah.
50 was like, okay, you're on the backside now, man. You are on the back 9, and you better start changing some things.
And did you?
Got divorced. But that was probably good for her too.
No, we can cut this out. It's fine.
No, you should. You shouldn't cut out anything because it's all true. It's what makes people who they are. So.
Do you mind if I ask why you guys got divorced?
We had just grown apart. We got married. Well, we dated in high school, Woolley, and we just grew apart. We stayed. In hindsight, we stayed together for the kids. And that was probably more me than her, but my family is screwy as hell, and I didn't want to put my kids through all that stuff, and so I wanted to make sure that they were very solid in their lives and set in their lives, through college and that sort of thing, before we made any changes. And
remind me of your girlfriend's name.
Maya.
How did you meet her?
At band camp.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's awesome. How long have you guys been together?
Little over 5 years, almost 6 years now. And it was funny because met at band camp. We were talking, and Gin Gypsy had played the night before. We played a Friday night, I believe. And we'd closed out the show and whatnot, and it was great and had a great time. And the next day, I'm just having a good time listening to the music, and she and I are talking, and she looks at me and says, so why are you here? And I thought, oh, that's cool. She doesn't know I'm a musician or have any idea who I am. I can start with a clean slate, She hasn't heard all my lies and stupid stories. So, yeah.
Were you worried that she would just want you because of your musician skills?
No, she would never looked at me if she would have seen me play. Probably. We had a really cool gig one time in Burlington. Used to be the Varsity, which is now the Office.
Oh yeah.
And the Trainwreck would have bands every once in a while, and Fanny was playing at the Varsity, and we were playing the Trainwreck. This is Saturday Saints, and we took breaks at the same time and switched. And we went over and played each other's show for a little bit and switched back. It was awesome.
Oh, so obviously you just play their equipment.
Oh yeah.
That's cool. And so why did you first start to play the drums? Like, what was the draw?
Well, I had an older brother that had a drum kit. And have you seen that movie Step Brothers?
Yes.
And so we fought a lot, and every once in a while he let me play his drums, but it was mainly me just putting my balls on his drums to get back at him. See, he's older than me; he used to kick my ass all the time. But I was around it. My dad was in his whole family are musicians, so when there was a family get together or anything like that, everybody's playing something.
Yeah.
And I just kind of gravitated towards that, I guess.
Oh,
I started
cool.
out playing saxophone, actually, in school band.
Oh, yeah?
And that tenor sax was way too heavy to carry to school, that big plywood case. And so
that's funny.
I switched over to drums at that point.
Yeah. And you're happy with that?
I wish I would have stuck with a lighter instrument. Guitar players have it easy. Flute. I should have went violin. I should have followed Olive's lead and played violin.
I can't wait till she gets better. Yeah. I mean, she just started, but she plays, she has a teacher from the Skagit Symphony is teaching her Tuesdays, and then Gretchen and Concrete is teaching her on Thursdays.
That's awesome.
And I introduced them, and so they kind of share resources, and Barb was like, "Oh, hey, teacher, help her with this."
You shared a story about her, and I hope I'm not. You can edit this
no,
out.
It's fine.
But you shared a story about she was kind of overwhelmed when she first started and wanted to quit.
Yeah.
And I love the way you handled that. You just, no, you're not going to do that. You're going to You're going to try this one more time. And from the story, it sounds like she really liked it.
All right, so I'll read you some of these drummer jokes. Let me know if either Shane has brought these up or someone else.
I'm quite aware that these jokes generally can be, you can put any sort of musician into the
Really?
The punchline. Yeah.
I don't know.
You know what it means when a bass player is salivating from both sides of his mouth?
Oh, that's the first one on here.
Is it? See?
That the stage is level.
Yes.
Well, this one kind of makes me laugh though, because do you write songs?
I have written songs, yeah.
Okay. Because this one says, what's the last thing a drummer says in a band? Hey, how about we try one of my songs? So did you guys, for Gin Gypsy, was it mostly original? Half and half?
It was
or
about
what?
half and half. We started out doing covers, and eventually our shows were probably about 3/4 original stuff.
Yeah.
It's a bummer when that band broke up. I listened to our second album, and we released that after the band had kind of fallen apart. It's such a good album.
Yeah.
It's really, the drummer sucks, but everybody else is awesome on it.
So is it like on Spotify? Like where can people find it?
Yeah, Spotify.
Cool.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anything else on there that's yours? Like, did Saturday
Saints we never recorded. I think we had a couple originals. I'm trying to remember. It's been so long.
Yeah.
We were pretty much just covers.
Yeah.
But we didn't record anything. And it's unfortunate because we practiced in a recording studio.
Oh, did you?
Eli had a studio.
Oh, at Eli's.
Yeah. Well, this is back when he had a professional or a commercial studio in Burlington, off of Burlington Boulevard.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. It was super cool.
Yeah.
But, that's a tough business to make last, I guess.
So did Gin Gypsy disband before COVID? Or like during COVID?
Actually, our last show we played was like the weekend they were going to close everything up.
Oh.
Because one of our last band meetings was a discussion of whether we should do this or not.
Oh, so you were planning on stopping before COVID.
We weren't planning on it. But the clubs were saying, the state was saying, no, we're closing down everything and you can't do this. And the recommendation was pretty strong that we not all congregate together. It was St. Patty's Day party at the Edison.
Oh yeah,
one of the best shows we ever played, and there was a ton of people there. It was great. But the discussion, we really were worried about if we should go forward with it or not, and we did it. I don't think anybody got sick.
On Scott's podcast, he shared how he used to go to the slaughterhouse in Edison and just watch it. Just watch the cows.
You got the cool magnets.
Yeah. Is that the kind of stuff that you did when you were a kid?
We didn't have a slaughterhouse, unfortunately, but we did. Yeah, I was kind of a rotten kid. We did some.
Well, what was like a mediocre bad thing you did? Like we used to steal traffic cones before we were drinking age, so we were 17, 16. We'd take traffic cones and we'd put one in the middle of the Wendy's drive-through, and then we'd run away and then we'd watch how the car could get through, and we'd put like soap in the fountain. Yes. That's what we did.
Yeah, we did stuff like that.
Yeah,
like that. I remember before they had put the mall on Burlington Boulevard. There used to be a drive-in theater and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was just houses and just a few businesses. But when they were widening out the road to do all that, there was, I don't know, half mile of cones like that. And me and this buddy thought it'd be funny to we were 16, to just drive down the middle of the cones. So
just knock them all over.
That's what we did one night. And we went over to Mount Vernon, and then we realized, they get stuck in the axle. So we had to spend like an hour pulling these things, out of the axle of the truck. It was stupid.
Like, how did you feel when your daughters first started driving? Is it really as scary as I think it's going to be?
Well, the oldest one's still not a very good driver.
But at least, like, did they have... I'm trying to think if they would have had phones.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So they could at least call you if something went wrong.
I remember we lived on a kind of a hill. Between her school and our house was on a hill, and she had a stick, and she got stuck on the hill, and she called me, and it was only a couple blocks away from her house, so I drove over there, and I just set my car next to her, and very easily pull that clutch out and give it gas, and she's like me, she cusses like a sailor, and she's just cussing the car and me the whole time, and finally the car takes off, and it was kind of funny.
Do they still make cars with stick shift?
I believe so.
Do they? Okay, I wasn't sure.
Well, yeah, they must. My first car was a 72 Pinto that was a piece of crap. But it taught me so much about, mechanical stuff and
How long did you have it for?
Not very long. I probably 6 months, a year.
Oh, okay.
And it was, by the time I got rid of it, was the coolest Pinto ever. But
what did you do to it? Did you
it was
lower it, put lights?
One of my older brothers he's a body guy, a paint and body guy, so he painted it for me, and I put really, really cool rims and tires on it.
Flipped it, sold it for lots of money.
No, I actually, what did I do? How we worked that deal? But my dad loaned me money to buy a '69 Camaro, and that was my second car. Which no kid should have that car in high school, but I did, and I wish I still had it. And I think he sold the Pinto to one of my other friends.
Yeah. Who
promptly crashed it into the back of a parked car. And,
Have you ever been in an accident?
I've been in several. Yeah.
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 What was one that you feel comfortable sharing?
I don't know. It wasn't anything major.
Okay.
A lot of fender benders.
Usually your fault.
I was with my brothers, and we got hit head on one time.
Oh,
the car
wow.
was in the wrong lane, and that was kind of scary.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And we were in a Pinto at that time.
Really? Wait, so I feel like you've mentioned several brothers and sisters. How many kids are in your family?
I have a lot.
How many?
I have. Keep in mind, when my parents got together, they brought kids, and so I have a lot of half brothers.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I have 3 older half brothers and 3 older half sisters, and I have 2 younger full brothers and a sister that's a full sister. Yeah.
Have you been to Canada at all?
You've mentioned this before. That some people can't go to Canada.
Are you one of those?
I'm one of those. Yeah.
See, I don't get the whole deal. Like, isn't it after a certain amount of years? Doesn't it go away?
I don't know, mine's been a long time. I mean,
have you checked into it?
I haven't.
Have you tried?
You know what? I did check into it just online. I didn't do anything real formal. And I think you can contact an attorney and go through the courts to get that changed, or to maybe not change. Maybe that's not the right word to use, but to get the approval to cross the border.
Yeah.
But it's pretty expensive from what I understand. So.
Yeah.
I'd love to go up there. I used to go to Canada a lot.
Yeah. Oh, when you were younger?
When I was younger.
Yeah. What'd you do up there?
Well, there's the best dance clubs in the world up there,
Are they?
Well, yeah, for nude women, yeah.
and you're strip
and you're
clubs.
a 19-year-old boy. I remember driving down the freeway I got off work and I was driving down I-5, and these 3 buddies drove next to me in their cars, rolled down their windows, and we're going to Orange Number 5 in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And so I pulled over at Cook Road and jumped in their car, and we went to Orange Number 5 in Vancouver.
That's so funny.
A lot. We did that a lot. One we used to go to had a shower on the stage.
Really?
I was always amazed by that. You know?
Well, when would they take a shower? Like during their set?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking like they would just shower after,
No,
and
that
you
was
would just watch.
That was part of the show.
Okay.
The sudsing show. And it wasn't every dancer that did it either, so it was a pretty special thing. I remember we went up for my bachelor party at one of maybe that club. And
how old were you when you got married?
I was 21.
Okay.
Super young.
Yeah.
Everybody who's out there, don't get married when you're 21. Don't do it. But I was married 30 years, so I don't know. Maybe you should do it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who am I to judge?
Do what you want.
I am not.
Run 100 miles. Get married when you're 21. Sonny and I don't know what we're talking about.
Take a shower on stage in front of people. You know.
Go to a strip club in Canada. Why not?
Yeah.
I'll put an E on this episode.
There you go. But yeah, we used to go up there a lot.
Yeah. Well, you went for your bachelor party, you said.
Yeah.
Were you in your bachelor party that you went with? Was there any guys there that I know?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's all right.
I can't. I could say Andy Brown, but I won't. He wasn't.
Well, that was my other tactic, was to lie about him so much that he had to come on.
defend himself.
But like on Dylan's episode, he's like, I don't think Andy Brown needs to come on. I think like he just shouldn't at this point.
The legend of Andy Brown.
The legend, yeah. There's 3 real Andy Browns, and there's the legend of Andy Brown.
I heard there's 3.
Yeah.
He is an awesome guy, though.
Yeah.
Great musician, an awesome guy. He really is. And that's why we can give him a hard time, because
I
he's
know.
such a good person.
If he was actually, kind of a jerk, people wouldn't even bring him up.
Right,
But
exactly.
Yeah.
So. Anybody that we haven't mentioned, we're not saying you're a jerk.
Oh, wait. Andy just texted me.
Oh.
I will say this about Sonny.
Liar.
No, it's actually really good things. I will say this about Sonny. In addition to being a precise and versatile drummer, he is universally well-liked and a righteous dude. I am proud to share his surname and never deny it if people think we're related. I'm glad he's a friend.
Oh,
Aww.
man.
That's so sweet.
God.
And you just talk shit about him.
I know. No, I said he's nice. He's a good guy.
No, I'm just kidding.
I do love Andy. I really do.
Yeah.
He is... This area is lucky to have a guy like that around, that plays in so many different bands and takes all the drumming gigs from everybody. But he's so good. He's I was amazed. You're at band camp.
Yeah.
Did you watching the Pavlov?
That was the second night, right?
Yeah.
No, I was working Cascade days.
Oh.
I only stayed Friday. I left Saturday morning.
I haven't seen Pavlov a lot, but that's the best show I've ever seen them do.
Really?
And it was cool to see Eli. It's always cool to see Eli play with them, because I saw Eli as a bass player, and to get to see him play guitar, he has the weirdest look on his face because he's so happy.
Really?
If you know Eli, it's just, man, that guy is just there.
Does he usually never smile?
No, he smiles all the time.
Oh, okay.
But there's just, it's like a pregnant woman. He has a glow when he's playing guitar. Oh, it really is, and it's not just me. Other people have said it. You talk with Shane,
yeah,
and you talk with Scott,
yeah,
and neither of them really talked about the Vicious Badgers, which is not music related.
No, it's. Are you in the Vicious Badgers?
Well, I am. I'm patched.
What does that mean, patched?
You remember?
Oh, okay.
But I haven't ridden in a long time. My scooter's kind of.
So is it scooters or motorbikes or
scooters?
Motorcycles.
They're
okay.
50 cc's of pure power.
Scott rode his over here.
There you go.
Yeah, and I know that's what the album's called, Vicious
Badgers.
Yeah. So how did that come about?
I don't know how it came about exactly.
Okay.
Other than Quinn was riding a lot, and I think Shane rides motorcycles and stuff, and I think that just kind of came about. But I've ridden big motorcycles and stuff for years. And the first time I rode with them, I've never been more nervous about being on two wheels ever.
Why?
I think it was just because of the people that were there, and they're so small. And I think I borrowed Quinn's, one of Quinn's, because they all have like 20 of them.
Really?
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing. It's like a drug when you get into it.
Wow, that's funny. I didn't know that.
I've controlled myself. I only have one. I did have two, but
so you're not hoarding bikes.
I am not.
Just Trump stuff.
Just Trump. There's not enough room in my storage unit. But yeah, it's a great time, and I've never laughed any harder in my life than going out and riding these stupid little bikes.
So, like,
these guys.
where do you ride? Like, can you ride on the road?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're street legal.
Okay.
Yeah. They're not very fast.
Okay.
We did a run where we started at Scott's place and we went up to Lyman.
Like on Highway 20?
Yeah, for a little stretch.
How fast can they go?
I just put a new muffler on mine, so I can hit about 26.
Wait, 26 miles per hour?
Yes.
You're allowed to drive on the road?
Oh yeah, they're street legal. But I don't know if they're technically legal for highways, but we went on the highway anyways.
Why
but
don't
we
you
stayed
take
on
the
the
Cascade
shoulder. We stayed on the
trail?
Yeah, that's what we should do. But it's like a big you just
so you stay on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we just go bar hopping essentially. The funniest thing is to go to Oyster Run and ride all these giant bikes, and then we're all showing up on our scooters.
What?
It's so hilarious.
Oh my gosh. So who founded the group?
I think it was Quinn and Shane. I think.
I should have Quinn on. I think Quinn and I have talked.
You'd
Yeah.
just hold on.
Yeah.
You should get a seatbelt for that chair and just let him go.
Yeah, Scott was like, wait, you haven't met Shane and he's coming over? I'm like, no. He's like, oh, geez.
He's such a cool guy.
Yeah, yeah.
And that cast was awesome.
Yeah.
I love his stories, and it's amazing the people and the contacts he's had in music and stuff.
Yeah. Well, and
in this area.
I love that he shared the history of, punk and music in the Valley, and some of my friends who are in the scene right now, they say in their 30s going, man, I wish it was around back then. Like, it seems so cool. And I'm like, you guys, there's so much stuff happening right now. And I just think when you're in it, you don't see it.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of really great things happening. And I think that,
this area, we are so lucky in this area. And I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but the musicians around here are just cool people. Mm-hmm. Everybody helps each other out. And you go to a show, you look out, there's, half the people are musicians. I won't say I've been in different communities, but I've been in areas where it's way competitive.
Yeah.
And people are just, musicians are always judging. That's just what we do,
Yeah.
And it's not so much that you're judging the person that you're watching, you're judging yourself because you're like, oh, I could do that better.
Yeah.
You're telling yourself, but you're could I do that better? Maybe. I don't know.
Oh, wait, I just realized we didn't mention Lazy Acres drummer, Trevor.
Trevor is awesome.
So that reminds me, because Spencer talked about, because I said, do you get nervous for shows? And he said, not really, but when other drummers watch me, I get really nervous. Like, because they were playing Eagle Haven, and he was playing, and he looked over, and Trevor was watching him. He's like, oh, I got to do something cool.
I was at band camp, and I'm looking over, and there's Andy and there's 3 or 4 drummers standing there, and I'm trying to catch my mic. Jeez.
And they all stood there and watched you.
No, they came up and helped me.
Oh, okay.
They really did. They were the same grace. That's not the first time they've done that either.
Really?
Yeah.
They're like, well, there's one faulty mic. Let's put it by the drummer. Well, that'll be really funny.
You never expect the drummer to sing, so I get that. I get that why sound guys do that. But
one mic that doesn't work, we'll put it back here.
I'm learning my lesson late. Bring your own mic stand.
Yeah, I was just remembering was it during the last Fanny Elger song? Didn't Scott drive his scooter on stage?
Scott and DJ Bowman.
That was so funny.
They nosed him up.
That was awesome. That was my first Fanny show I've ever seen.
Really? What'd you think?
Amazing.
Is it fun?
Amazing. Yeah.
The energy and just they are the coolest guys when I don't know. You walk into a show, they seem to know everybody.
Yeah.
Because they reference everybody throughout the night.
He mentioned me like 3 times.
Yeah.
I thought it was so cool. I was like, "Aw, you stop it." But because during our podcast, he talked about he kept referring to his shows as revivals, and I was like, I don't get it, but now I do.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
When he jumps up on the bar and starts preaching, yeah, it's a revival. It is.
What was your first job?
First real job, other than picking strawberries and riding the bus.
Besides sweating in the field for hours, doing manual labor.
My first job where I really got a paycheck was at the Dragon Inn washing dishes over in Mount Vernon.
Oh, the Chinese restaurant?
Yeah. And I don't think any of them spoke English at the time, and they would. I learned a few words that I don't know what they mean to this day, but I know they're dirty because they used to look at me when they were saying it. So I know they weren't good. And here's a weird story. You probably don't know these players, but Steve Garvey was my guy. He was their first baseman back in the 70s. And the third baseman, Ron Say, is from Tacoma. I think he's from Tacoma. But he went to Wazoo. And my mother-in-law dated him in college.
What?
Yeah, and I didn't find that out until after I got married.
That's so awesome. Is that your only brush with fame?
No. I used to run. I've been really fortunate. I used to run a Banana Republic store in Santa Monica, California.
What?
Right.
Why didn't you open with that, Sonny?
I don't know. It was.
That's why you're so stylish.
Yeah, I feel my flannel shirt. It's real close to Venice Beach.
Okay.
So it's a very artistic community, but a lot of very famous actors used to come in there. And, yeah, it was fun.
Like who?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask that. I'm going to draw a blank. Arnold Schwarzenegger used to come in every once in a while. I can't think of his name.
Movie stars.
He was Apollo Creed in the Rocky movies.
I haven't seen the Rocky movies.
Oh, he used to come in all the time.
Okay.
Who's the actor from Taken? The big, tall Irish Scottish guy.
You're asking
Liam
the
wrong.
Neeson. Liam Neeson.
I got a great story about him.
Okay.
The store had a big bay window kind of thing, display window in the front.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful part of LA, and there's a lot of money. And he was in the store and was kind of standing by the window, and I was kind of like, "Ooh, that's Liam Neeson. I want to go see if I can talk to him." So I slid up there, and this probably the most beautiful woman that I've ever seen came walking down the street, and just it was like she's walking down the runway. just some people have that. You just have to stop and look.
Yeah.
She just was that, had that radiance about her, and he was doing exactly the same thing. And as she walked all the way by, and he's the full head turn, and it's just quiet, and he turns back to me and looks at me and says, "Did you see that? Did you see that?" With his accent, it sounded much better than what I just did, but it was so funny.
Yeah.
But I met a couple members of the Pretenders came into the store.
Oh.
Martin Chambers, the drummer.
Did you recognize them?
Oh, right off.
Oh, okay.
Right off, and they were kind of put off because I wanted to talk drums and stuff and music. And kid, I just went here to buy a T-shirt.
So how did the Dimes come about then? So how did Rick and is it Ken?
Yeah.
Ken, how did they get in the mix?
Well, Rick and Ken used to play with a band called the Dizzies.
Okay.
And Rick contacted me. Well, I think he contacted me. Anyways, we got to talking after Gin Gypsy was dying off, and about the same time the Dizzies were doing the same thing. And so we decided we wanted to do something together. And I really like rockabilly and that upright bass thing. So we just thought we'd give it a try. What the heck,
Did you know Ken and Rick before, not just from music, or
no?
Are they from here too?
I didn't.
Okay.
Ken lived in California and came up here.
Okay.
Like a lot of us did.
Yeah.
Rick lives. He lives in Bellingham now. I don't know exactly where he's from though.
Okay.
But I don't know what I was going to say.
And he's the dentist, and Ken's the construction guy.
Yeah.
You're the title loan.
On paper, we are the boringest band ever. But we all need a band so we can,
Yeah. Well, I always like to talk about how we met. We met at the Concrete Theater. I was bartending for your show. Could have been more attended, but that's fine.
Could have been.
There should be a documentary on music and Skagit, don't you think?
I think there should.
There should be. Who could do that?
Shane? What are you doing?
Clay could do it. Clay could help.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's get that going. That'll be fun. I mean, I don't have time, but I'm sure.
all it would have to do is the family tree of music in Skagit County.
Yeah.
Because this person played this person, and this, goes over this way, and then it comes back to this person,
We got to share the good and the bad, though.
Oh, absolutely. The bad is good.
Yeah.
Because, I've played with some terrible bands. I went and seen some terrible bands, but every band I see, I learned something.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, like, they're out there and they're doing it.
Yeah.
It's funny because I didn't put a new episode out last week. Tony said, "Who's on the pod tomorrow?" I said, I'm actually just going to re-release Cody's with the new intro. And Tony looks at me and he's like, what the hell am I going to listen to tomorrow morning? That's the only thing I look forward to on Wednesdays. I was like, oh, thanks, man. And he's constantly giving me people to interview. And the joke is that he's doing that so he doesn't have to come on. But yeah, I think he has different reasons than Andy for
Well, I tell you, everybody that I've talked to that's done this has just absolutely had a great time, and I understand why now.
Oh,
thanks. You're great company, and you certainly make it easy to talk. Again, I was dreading this. I wasn't dreading it, but I didn't sleep a whole lot last night.
Oh, that's so funny.
What do I have to say that anybody would want to listen to? And
well, I say, if you're boring, it's my fault. I didn't ask you the right questions, and I did poor editing, so don't worry.
Well, you do a great job. It's just conversation. It's just not questions fired out, which I was nervous about.
Life advice from Sonny and Liz. With our combined wisdom, kids,
when I'm
you'll
king,
never...
the world's going to be a different place.
Oh, no, wait. Kids aren't supposed to listen to this, right? No one should listen to this one.
Yeah.
Don't follow our advice at all. We don't know what we're doing.
Don't do it.
No.
Don't do it. Save yourselves.
Thanks, Sonny.
Thank you.